logic board replacement for iPad. The tools we're going to need are prying plastic picks, a metallic pry tool that's optional, tweezers, double-sided M3 tape, toolkit with a Phillips head screwdriver, and a blow dryer. If you haven't done so, go ahead and power down your iPad. 2 connections for the digitizer here and an LCD connection. It opens up in the following orientation. The screen is glued in, so with the blow dryer we'll need to warm up the contours of the iPad to break the seal. Go ahead and do that for about 2 minutes. Now start prying in one of the corners, preferably top left, with the plastic prying tool and get that seam going. Once you're in, you can go ahead and keep reapplying the heat and prying again all around the entire contour until the seal is completely broken. Don't rush, this takes a lot of time. Reheating again and again. If you go too fast, you might crack the screen. Once you got it going, go ahead and start prying it apart like so, very slowly. It should come right out. Breaking the seal is very difficult to do without cracking the screen. If you're replacing other parts while you're in there, go ahead and order a replacement screen just to have it on hand in case you crack it. Here's a closer look at the home button cable we mentioned earlier. The following 4 Phillips head screws at each corner of the LCD need to be removed. The 4th one is tucked away underneath the home cable. I've sped up the trivial 4 screws removal for the LCD screen. Once you remove those 4 screws, you can go ahead and lift up and gently fold over the LCD on top of the digitizer. We'll need to disconnect the cable. This connection has an eyelash that needs to be popped open, as you can see here. Once that's popped open, go ahead and remove the tape that's gluing the cable to the socket. Once that tape is removed, we can go ahead and start prying left to right and push that cable out like so. With this cable unplugged, we can go ahead and lift up the LCD and move it out of the way. Here's a good look how it looks up close. Back to the bottom left corner. To remove the digitizer, we need to peel back the tape that's guarding the connection to the home button. Go ahead and lift up that eyelash again, very gently. Now with the eyelash lifted, you can go ahead and tug the cable out of the way like so. There you go. Now let's move up to the digitizer cable. Go ahead and remove the tape that's guarding the cable to the socket. Now lift up the 2 lashes, again popping them up gently. With those popped up, you can lift the digitizer and gently peel the cable away from the chassis of the iPad. Be very careful not to rip it. Now you can just disconnect it, and that's it. To disconnect the logic board, first remove the guarding tape, then remove the little glued in plastic bracket. It could just be removed with force. Go ahead and unplug the speaker. Now pop out the antenna, and now the lightning cable connector. The logic board is secured with 4 screws. Go ahead and remove the 2 screws that are on the bottom first. The one on the bottom right and then the one on the bottom left. Once we get to the top screws, go ahead and remove the top screw on the left. Remember, the top screw on the right actually has a different function. It connects the battery and the logic board together. So we'll leave that for later. Go ahead and remove the piece of tape guarding the peripherals cable. Go ahead, pop out those eyelashes with your fingernails or an assisting tool. Try not to use a metallic tool like you see here. I've done this many times, so I'm pretty experienced, but you can damage those sockets if you do it with a metallic tool too fast. Once those eyelashes are up, go ahead and pry in gently underneath the cable. Again, try it with a plastic tool. go ahead and pop out that peripheral cable. Once that peripheral cable is loose, we can go ahead and remove that fourth screw that connects the logic board to the battery. With that screw removed, you can go ahead and lift up logic board installation. Connect the peripherals cable to the logic board first. Go ahead and push in that connection until you can't see the white lines anymore, and clip in those eyelashes. Make sure those are nice and tight. Go ahead and lay the board down. Align it with the battery. Make sure to secure this connection first. Once you screwed in that connection and the battery and the logic board are connected, go ahead and do the bottom screw, then the bottom left screw, and then the top left screw. With those 4 screws secure, you can go ahead and reconnect the lightning port cable, the speaker, and then gently the antenna cable. Go ahead and make sure that that's nice and in there correctly. Go ahead, place back the spacer. It should be able to come in there with the residual glue. Now the connection tape. For the reassembly, we're essentially following all the steps backwards. Go ahead and reconnect the home button cable first. That should be relatively easy. Make sure not to forget the eyelash. Now go ahead and reconnect the digitizer data cables. Go ahead and pop them in until you can't see the white lines anymore. Now with the back of the tweezers, apply pressure to close the eyelash. We can now go ahead and reinstall the LCD. Go ahead and lay the LCD down on top of the digitizer. Grab the LCD cable. Go ahead and tuck it in until you can't see the white line anymore, and push in that eyelash to secure that connection. Go ahead and flop it back over the battery now. Make sure not to block off any cables and that the home button cable is not pinched. Resecure the 4 Phillips head screws on each corner of the LCD. This is optional. Go ahead and wipe down the screen with a glasses wipe or an anti-static wipe or whatever that you have on hand. With the screen clean, go ahead and apply the M3 tape around the contour of the digitizer. This is double-sided tape. I've sped up to show you how this is done. Go ahead and peel that off. Now you can go ahead and fold it right over, but don't fix it completely yet. Power on the iPad. Make sure that everything's connected and functioning. Now go ahead and power it down again. Re-clean the inside of the digitizer. Now clamp it back up. This time is going to be for good. Make sure to adjust everything correctly so that all the seams line up and you get a nice good seal. You shouldn't be able to see any cracks at all. Go ahead and wipe out the fingerprints from the screen, and there we go. We're all done.